Today was a mixed bag of a workout. While overall it was an enormous success for a peaking day, and the peak of this block of my workout, I was able to really just cruise through the 290 5x5 squats, which again is just blowing my mind that after I struggled with 280 so much just because my stance was a little bit too wide, that narrowing the stance just made it trivial. So I think that my strength, I have a lot more strength than I gave myself credit for. And to be honest, realistically, I might be able to do 300 or 305 on a 5x5 with squats right now, but that's going to be coming quite some time and not anytime soon. The deficit deadlifts felt really good. I haven't seen how those looked yet, so we'll see kind of when I get to that point how those went exactly. But I feel pretty happy with those. The only glaring error and kind of dark or not so great point of the workout is going to be the bench press. And I think that's just virtue of I finally hit my upper limit on bench for a 5x5, and on top of that, I may have re-aggravated my shoulder injury in my right shoulder in doing bench this heavy. I know that realistically, bench isn't the greatest exercise to do just because it puts so much strain on your body, especially when it comes to developing deltoid and pec strength. So I may have to rethink, and this is becoming a common refrain, but I think I'm going to have to definitely rethink my application over overhead press and bench press in my workouts. And I might just switch over to doing hypertrophy work specifically for them while maintaining progression in my squats and my deadlifts, just because I really can't risk tearing my shoulder again. The recovery period on that took so long, and it's not something I really want to go through again. So I'm just going to think it over, see how I feel on tomorrow, on Sunday, and again on Monday, just because there's a non-zero chance that I might have torn part of my right shoulder again. Otherwise, I'm hoping that I just tweaked it. I still have full range of motion. There's no sort of limitation in how I can move my arm. There's no impingement in terms of like any movement being a little slower than any others or more hesitant. So I definitely think I just tweaked it, but it's still enough to kind of give me pause with how quickly it was tweaked after only one set. And I felt it after the fourth rep and decided, hey, I'm just going to push the fifth and then see where this goes. It was not the best feeling to have. But again, squats were very good, and I'm pretty happy with how these are looking. I'm hitting depth. I'm moving at a consistent pace. I'm not really getting stuck, really badly in the hole in a lot of these reps and these sets. So that's a good sign, just because it means I'm not overwhelming myself. So this fifth set definitely took a bit of work at the very end, but that's not, the worst thing in the world to have happen to where your last rep is a little hard. So right here on the fifth rep, took a breath getting into it. And a little bit of a yell there to push through to the end. But overall, I'm very happy with how the squats went. I'm much stronger than I think I am, and that tends to be a common refrain lately with squats. Again, so this bench set, not my proudest. It was not very easy, and I did not get a very good response out of it. So fourth rep right there, felt it. Fifth rep, that was the fourth rep. And then the fifth rep right here, you can see my right shoulder dip a little bit. And I think that was the shoulder straining under the weight. And so I spent like 5 or 6 minutes after this just kind of standing around and thinking over how things felt, and ultimately decided that I needed to move on from bench for today, just because any sort of continued work on that was going to risk further aggravating the shoulder injury that I've dealt with in the past. Block pulls, I carried on with the feeling that I had from last week, where I realized that at a certain point, as I'm coming up, if I locked my hips and forced hard with the hips, that my movement off of the ground got a hell of a lot easier. And so I really focused hard on that movement. And I think that had a lot of benefit. And I felt towards the end of the third set and then in portions of the fourth and the fifth sets that I was able to start even lower and lower in my deadlift and, just really push it harder and harder each subsequent set. And so I'm definitely on to something with this. And I think there's having a lot of benefit with being able to just get the weight started and get it off the ground. So part of me is considering tomorrow to try maxing out my sumo deadlift again, just because it's been about 6 weeks since I've done that. And I think it'd be a fun little workout reward for myself, just with how things have gone overall in terms of like being able to max to try to test that weight again. I think that I might be able to push over 400 pounds on my sumo now. So I think it was right about here when I felt my reps getting a lot. I think it was this fifth rep right here where it just felt really good. So something that I did just worked. And I had a really good response in my body from it. And I think I'm on the right track. Again, this is a common refrain, but I'm learning and figuring out this motion. And you can see that as I'm going through and doing this fourth set, it's getting smoother and smoother as I'm starting the reps. And I'm getting a lot more power and drive from my hips and from my legs, just being able to do them at the same time rather than sequentially. And so it's adding a lot better activation overall. And I just think that this is having the benefit that I was looking for going through with this. So looking forward, I'm definitely going to deload my squats and my deadlifts and their variations. The remaining deadlifts, I'm going to deload and then pause at a particular weight just because I really can't afford to do those too heavy right now. Bench and overhead press, there's a strong chance those are going to get rotated out for the time being. And I'm going to switch into doing some hypertrophy work to build up my shoulders, build up my triceps, just to help kind of prevent any sort of injury going forward. That final rep right there in that fifth set, that was the money right there. That rep felt so easy. But I digress. Again, I got to change something up with my pressing, both in bench and overhead, just because it's not. I don't think what I'm doing is going to work well long term for the health of my shoulder, and I need to build up more muscle and shore up the shoulder overall to prevent any sort of future injury. And I thought I was on the right track with my bench technique, but I may have to re-examine that and figure out what exactly I'm doing, because it may not be right and it may need further assessment to make sure I'm doing this properly. But again, outside of that, it was a relatively successful workout. This is a very good training block for me. I always kind of realize I'm stronger than I am, and I can afford to push a little bit more and more every single month. I may try to cap out at 300 or maybe 310, as would normally be playing with squats, and we'll kind of see where deadlifts go. I may have hit my max on my trap bar deadlifts, but that remains to be seen. It's going to be another month of building, and I'm definitely in territory to where I'm growing consistently. So see how it goes.